Hello, hello, and welcome. Mic is on, everything is functional. I want to uh, remind you again, over again and again and again, that you do not live on a spinning earth satanic impossible. That's only and just in your head and CGI and AI images on the internet. And this is not for educational purposes. Okay, this is fake, this is phony, this is just laughable. Okay? And you exist, you live on a flat surface in the center of the universe, surrounded by the Great Dome. And inside this Great Dome, there is 178 other circle environments, circled by ice. And I do not know if there is a dome over each one of them. You know, I do not believe it myself. I only believe that there is an ice wall surrounding it, and these evil custodian race have evil even have they have a firewall. So that's the technology they have. So there's an ice wall and there's a firewall. Okay, and you can read about it in this book, Terra Infinita trilogy book. And I heard that the author uh, recently came out with a new book. So there's actually 11 books, so it's very interesting. So if you're a reader, it should be something for you, because this is probably the truth. I believe it. I totally believe this. You know, because I do not believe we come from here we go, a virtual background, and we're in the center, in the middle, surrounded by all these other circle environments, 178 of them. The book mentions it well, and it explains it pretty well. It's an interesting story, by the way. Yes, and the interesting thing, you have all these interesting videos on YouTube. How they explain there's two evil races. It's the custodians. Okay. I heard that they are robotics, and they are masters of hiding themselves, in the shadows. They do not want to be mentioned, so they do not exist, but they do. I think they are the men in black, actually, work with the US government, and on the backside of the moon, trying to mine something on the moon. I do not know what, minerals, usually, casually. And these, I heard that Anunnaki are the ones, but I do not believe that, are the ones who create fake humans to walk around in this flat Earth 3D plane. They are not the ones, and at least not the only ones. The custodians do this too, because they like to mess around with the lowest race they can. That's us, the humanity. 4 minutes. So you walk around people who are not really people. They're half robotics and synthetics. and also other technology, you know. So don't wonder if you see some crazy stuff, you know. That's technology. That's not human. That's not real human. Because these things exist. They are not human. They are robotics. You can imagine colonizing all these worlds and gather all this technology. Okay, the power they have, there's no question. They have all the technology. You can't even imagine. Of course, they create humans. Of course, and here in this world, they're trying to figure out to make a robot. You know, that's mocking. They're mocking you when they're a robot trying to create a robot. You know, and they own the media totally. And guess what country is owning the media? Totally. America. And it's never the people. It's the evil within. It's the parasites. The deep state. Anunnaki. Illuminati. Illuminati are the children of Anunnaki. Okay? So they're evil. They don't care about any life. And you are important to them because you have this life source, all spark, human essence. Okay? It's very important to know this. You'll get plenty of this if you get a hold of this book and, well, read it one page at a time, and you will get through. And you do not live on a satanic, imaginary, spinning earth ball that swirls through endless space. Can you imagine how stupid that thought is? Where is your head at? How can you believe such a thing? And then you have this. It's simple. 3D. Human. We live on a 3D plane. This flesh and bones can't live outside this realm if it's not 3D. You are in a 3D plane. But there are beings that drop in and out because they can. And they are not flesh and bones. Not long ago, I watched a YouTube video where the military, one person in the military had to get this being to speak. And they open up a crack in the space and kidnapped it, because they always do this. You know what they did in Venezuela? Something like that. But they kidnapped this being, and this being spoke, and it explained who they were, what their purpose was. Whoa. What happened? What happened? Am I still online and stream? Yes, I am. And it explained who they were and how they affected us humans from their dimension. That they were negative, that they needed our negative thoughts and negative emotions. 9 minutes. Okay. So what does Jesus have to do with these beings? Okay. This human, they hated his name because it's holy, Jesus. Okay, they can stand it. They were the ones who constructed, illustrated his death. You know, this being explains it, everything about it, how they wanted his death, how they got him to die, and how they hated him, but they couldn't kill him, and how he returned back, and how this Jesus being rebirth. Yeah, and how this Jesus being traveled through these dimensions and into their world, and set free all these probably humans, so that these beings abducted. So this is very interesting. I'm goosebumping right here, right now. So everything, all you need to do when you have trouble with your mind or anything, you just think of Jesus, because there's a frequency in his name. You know, and if you're afraid or something, you don't understand, and you don't see. And mention his name a couple of times, and you'll see you will notice the difference. There's power in his name, because these beings, they are everywhere. Okay, they compared them with demons, but I don't. There's something else. You can compare them with demons, but I don't. I just don't. So they are never negative entities surrounding you and living in this realm that your government knows about, but they won't say anything. You have to figure it out yourself. Yeah, that's pretty much it. 12 minutes. Yes,